Hi guys, today we're looking at a Canon TLb. This cost $15. It came with a 2x teleconverter and no lens at the Goodwill store. They marked the price down to $20 because it was missing the lens and it wasn't clear what it should have cost. And then I got a veteran's discount for another $5 off. So it ended up only $15. On eBay, these are worth about $20 without a lens. The condition of this one's a little strange. The shutter display cap was missing. The shutter B setting doesn't work. And the battery probably works right, but it's very confusing, and I'll talk about that. The personal significance of this camera was only that I spotted it at the Goodwill store, and for $15 I just couldn't resist a bargain. It was an impulse purchase. The historical significance, these were made from 1974 to 76, a very short range. They were basically a cheaper version of the Canon FTB, except this has no hot shoe and the maximum shutter speed is 1/500th of a second instead of 1/1000th of a second. On the camera front, there's not a lot to see. This is not a self-timer. It's just the lever for stop-down metering, and to set your aperture at the correct aperture as opposed to wide open, you just push it in and it presets the aperture. There's a flash sync socket here on the side. I'll remove the lens cap. And of course there's just the plain old lens mount, and it's a standard Canon bayonet mount. Some old style, but it works fine. I'll remove it simply like that. On this particular lens, there's a lever on the side. Others have a ring you have to turn to snap them in and snap them out. So you just line up the dot. I'll line it with the camera. About 1/8 of a turn to the right, and it snaps right in. This particular lens is a 28mm f2.8. This is a lens that I had from a previous camera, and I just made use of it on this one. Of course, on the top of the lens, there's an automatic setting, which means nothing on this camera. There's the manual f-stops from f2.8 to f22, and a depth of field scale, and the distance is measured in both feet and meters. On the top of the camera, we have the rewind knob, and you pull it up to release the back, and it's spring-loaded, and that'll pop the back open. And of course, then to rewind the film, it has a little snap-out winder knob, which makes rewinding film easy. A cold shoe. There's a little film plane indicator item. If you ever needed to do macro photography and wanted to measure the focus precisely, you could get the distance to there. This is the shutter speed dial. Like I said, when I bought this, there was a shutter speed indicator mechanism, plastic piece I suppose, on there, and by the time I got it home, somehow I lost it and it fell off. So I had to take a picture of the manual and reduce it to the right size and play with like paper dolls and cut it and paste it and glue it in there. So that's a fake shutter speed dial, but you know, it is what it is. Inside the shutter speed dial is the film speed setting to couple with the meter so that your meter readings are accurate. And to change the film speed, you pull up on the knob and turn it to set the film speed. I'll set it to 200 right now. And that's the shutter release button. And in this case, I'll set the shutter speed to 125th. And it's also a threaded socket for a standard cable release. The film advance lever is a nice lever, all metal. The newer models of this is the TLb. The TLb QL quick load has a plastic handle on it and a couple other features, but not much. Interestingly enough, the lever does not, like on a lot of cameras, opening the lever to this position does not turn on the battery or turn off the battery. There is no battery on-off button anyplace on this camera. And then there's a frame counter window there which automatically resets. Right now it's on 0. So now it's on 2. And again, if I pop the back open and close it, the film counter went back to S for start. On the right side, there's only the strap lug. On the left side, there's a strap lug and the battery compartment. It's kind of neat because it's a knurled knob, so you could get it off without using a coin, but there's also a big slot in it where you could use a nickel or a penny to loosen this battery compartment. It requires a 1.35 volt mercury battery for accurate metering, so it's a little bit of a pain in the butt. Although I have put regular 625 batteries in it, and it seemed to work okay. I'm sure the accuracy probably wasn't right on, but it worked. On the camera back, there's only the viewfinder. When you look through the lens, there's a matching needle system. The meter readings are center weighted. The aperture needle has a round circle on it, and it travels up and down as you change the aperture on the lens. And as you change the shutter speed, a straight needle moves around, and the straight needle is the needle that also changes its deflection depending on the light. So when you move into the light or out of the light, the needle goes advanced or retarded. So you want to get them both right. If the shutter speed is too low, and that's dependent on both the shutter speed itself and your ASA setting, then a red circle appears in the lower right corner of the viewfinder. And that's just a warning that the readings from the meter will not be accurate from that point on. It can still, with a separate external meter, you could meter for those lower light conditions correctly. On the bottom of the camera, there's just the tripod socket and the button you push to rewind the film. Not a lot to say about it. Like I say, the most interesting thing is the way the battery works. If you put a battery in it, it just starts working. There's no switch to turn it on. It doesn't matter what setting you have on the camera. You can hold it up to the light and see the battery move and turn off. I was so confused. I searched the web to see how you turn the battery on and off, and there were no answers. If you look at the FTB cameras, they have a switch for on, off, and to check the battery level, but the owner's manual says that if you don't turn the switch off, you should cover the lens, and that will preserve the battery life. So the implication is the battery is always turned on to the CDS meter, but as long as you have a lens cap on and it's dark, you will consume very little energy to the point where they think the battery should last a year. Strikes me as strange, but stranger things have happened. At any rate, it's a cute little camera. I got it for a song. It looks real nice. Cosmetically, it's in wonderful condition. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video.